The Bengals are about to make it official with Joe Burrow, the last of the top 10 draft picks, set to sign his rookie deal. It is breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. The contract reportedly worth $36.1 million, and that signing bonus of $23.9 million will come to him in full, 100%, over the course of the next couple of weeks. He's expected to be the starter week 1 because Andy Dalton is now with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's bring in our NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. Jonathan, it was a foregone conclusion, but it's got to make you feel good if you're the Bengals. Joe Burrow locked up for 4 years.
That's right. And it obviously, it's a slotted rookie deal. He was always going to make this sort of money. Everyone understood it. Really, the only thing that they had to hammer out was when and how much of his signing bonus he would get up front. Obviously, it was 100% within these next 2 weeks. And again, that's not a surprise because Joe Burrow holds all the leverage. What are you going to do? Go into this season with Ryan Finley back there? No. I mean, you've been prepping Joe Burrow to be the week 1 starter really ever since the combine, when it was when he said, I want to be in Cincinnati. I have no problem going to Cincinnati. It became a fait accompli that he is going to be the week 1 starter as long as there is no injury. And injury, Chris, is the reason why, the biggest reason why this contract is getting done right now. Again, these are slotted rookie deals. There's not a whole lot of negotiating that has to happen beyond the signing bonus. But what one prominent agent told me last week was, we've told a lot of our guys over the last couple of months, there's no reason to rush to sign your deal because you still have to report for the physical. And if you injure yourself between the time that you have agreed to your deal and potentially signed it, and by the time you make it into the building for a physical, if anything has happened to you, that gives your team a reason why to take back some of that money, if it's a football-related injury or it's not. And so the safe thing for any of the draft picks, and we saw a flurry of them start to happen as we got confirmation from the NFL and NFLPA upon their agreement that that training camp would start on time. We started to see a flurry of these guys start to sign their deals. It was not about whether or not these teams were liquid enough to pay signing bonuses. It was not that at all. It was a matter of being safe and secure with the contract, making sure that you sign it, go get your physical, no takebacks, then we're good. That's what we're seeing here with Joe Burrow, who gets, again, 100% of his signing bonus as the #1 overall pick in the future of this franchise within the next 2 weeks. Yeah,
as soon as he passes his physical, I'm guessing he is on his way to join his teammates now, as all training camp players are expected to report by today. He's got weapons now to work with. This isn't like a regular situation where a rookie comes in and he doesn't have many options. He's getting A.J. Green back on that franchise deal. Of course, they drafted T. Higgins with the first pick in the 2nd round. You got Boyd, you got Ross. Do you expect him to put up some big numbers this season?
Relative to the rest of the NFL, maybe not. Big numbers. I think a lot of people are going to be able to put up big numbers. He has plenty of speed. I worry a little bit about the tight end situation. You look at the running back situation. Joe Mixon primed for another big year. We'll see if he can go back-to-back here. And then, of course, Gio Bernard back there in the backfield. I do believe in Joe Burrow. He's obviously one of the most ready-made quarterbacks coming out of college, really, since Andrew Luck, and there's no doubt at all about it. You look at the defensive side of the ball for the Bengals, and they plugged in some gaps. They weren't huge spenders in free agency, but like what they were able to do, they should be able to keep up in the AFC North. Again, very difficult division. Not sure how this year is going to shake out for them in terms of wins and losses, but this is all about developing Joe Burrow. So, with that said, developing Joe Burrow, that offensive line, and specifically the interior of the Bengals offensive line, still a big question mark. They did a lot of reworking to it, figuring out who goes where, who's coming off of injury. They have to protect Joe Burrow early and often if the Bengals and Joe Burrow are going to have any sort of success this season. So that's the biggest question mark. You always got to protect the franchise. We see any number of these rookie quarterbacks who get into tough situations. Well, they had the #1 pick for a reason. The Bengals had the #1 pick for a reason. We'll have to see about that offensive line. That is really going to dictate a lot of Joe Burrow's successes and or failures, and not his play, because I think that he's going to be right on the money starting in week 1.
It's really tough to look ahead and forecast this day and age of COVID and the pandemic, but I want you to look a long way into the future. Just a guess here. What's the quarterback market going to look like? Let's just say Joe Burrow has a good first 3-4 years with Cincinnati. What will that market look like in 4 years, the way this quarterback money is trending?
Yeah, I mean, the way it's going right now, we're not that. I mean, what Patrick Mahomes just signed for, obviously, Lamar Jackson, if he can get a Super Bowl and another MVP, could certainly eclipse that. I know it's crazy to think that somebody could eclipse a $500 million contract, but, Lamar Jackson's absolutely on that trajectory with the Baltimore Ravens. And so we continue to see this uptick. The one thing, though, is that COVID-19, when we talk about projecting into the future, we know and understand that next year's salary cap is going to take a hit. And they have set the floor at $175 million as the floor of the salary cap in 2021. For the next 3 or 4 years, they're going to smooth out the cap. Of course, there's supposed to be the big spike in the salary cap in terms of all revenue when the networks re-up the broadcast rights deal following the 2022 season. So once we get on the other side of that, once the cap has been smoothed out, once hopefully this is just a one-season COVID-19 revenue deficit sort of year, and then we all move on with the vaccine, we all live healthy and happy lives, that, we get to 2025, after Joe Burrow has played out his rookie deal and after he has played on the franchise tag perhaps, and then we start to see what could happen. And again, could he be a $50 million a year quarterback? Might that be the case then? Or are we going to see some plateauing happen in the NFL? I see either way sort of going here. It's difficult to say right now. Again, we just had a gigantic wrench thrown into this entire machine with COVID-19. And so the way things were trending, we weren't that far away from seeing a $50 million a year quarterback. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is an outlier in all of this. We'll have to see moving forward, of course, after next season and what the salary cap is going to be in 2021 and beyond.
High hopes for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, the #1 overall pick, the last of the top 10 picks this season to agree to his rookie deal. Jonathan Jones breaking it down for us here on HQ. 4 years, $36.1 million, team option for a 5th year. It's all standard, and it's all just about done pending a physical for Joe Burrow, who's going to get about $24 million in the next couple of weeks. Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.